Hello, welcome to my cake kitchen. I'm Gladys. Over here, I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate cake decorating easily. And today we're back. It's Friday, I know. Our lives normally run from Tuesday through to Thursday, but yeah, I found myself in a spot where this cake has to be completed, and we're continuing the series. So wherever we are at the moment, you're welcome, okay? And what are we doing today? We are covering today. We're simply covering our bag cake in fondant. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we started a new series of a near realistic object. We picked a purse, a handbag, which I carved, reshaped in, I think there are two episodes of this already, where we started with the cake in its raw form and then carved it. I didn't like the shape of it, so I came back the next day and then we reshaped it. It started as a small half looking cake, and then I reshaped it into this cake that you see right here. In between those two tutorials, I ended up having to bake for E-Day, decorating it, which has led to this stringing out a little bit more. But yes, I am appreciative of your time. So today we're going to be covering our bag cake in fondant. Perhaps we'll come back in the next episode, which will be tomorrow, to our decorative details. I am not so sure, but today let's stick with today's task, which is covering this cake in fondant. Now, as you can see, I have gone ahead and covered one aspect of it in fondant, and that is because we are going to be doing the other aspect, and I just didn't want the task to be repetitive, and also to give us room to be a little bit organized in the tutorials, just so that I can have a bit of time to engage with you as well. So if you're just joining me, you haven't missed out on anything. You'll get to see how I did this part, and it's exactly the same for here, so that you can see how I did it. And then we will go on to cover some aspects of this cake. Now, I have a few tools that may not necessarily relate to cake making, which includes, let's just say, a tape measure over here, okay? But that is cake making. Cake making and decorating does employ different skill sets. And today, I fancy myself a dressmaker, except we're not making a dress. I need some measurements because of the shape of this cake. I need something that can flex around so that I can get my measurements right. So between a tape measure, I am also using a ruler. Besides that, I am using other cake decorative tools that you're probably used to, but I will highlight them. I won't take time to talk through all the tools that I'm using, because that will take in much time from the tutorials and end up like making this a little more long-winded than it is. Not that I am not long-winded already. If you've been here, you'll know we are long-winded, but that is because there's intention behind it. So for those of you in the chat, there is Starpeter, there is Delaney, and all of you in the house, hello there, and thank you for spending part of your day with me. I haven't had breakfast, but for some reason I decided that I'm gonna have kefir, so there you go. Enough of that. It's not nice tasting. I don't like the flavored one. It's not. I'm not going to pretend it's nice, okay? It's the natural and flavored kefir, and it's got a tart and tang to it, and it's not nice at all, but apparently it's healthy. So you see, if you wonder where all the cake went, we keep a bit of balance here. I'm either gobbling down cake or I'm eating kefir for breakfast. So yes, enough of my breakfast options here, and yeah, let's go on to cover the cake. Besides the task of cake covering, I also went ahead to roll out some fondant here, and that was because I needed this fondant to set, just so that it can bring me some form. But all of these I will be replicating throughout the process, so you haven't missed out on anything at all. This fondant is regular black fondant, but just so you know, I didn't cover my fondant at all. I didn't color my own fondant. I bought them. For black and some deep colored fondant, I buy them. The simple reason is it's easier that way, but they are also affordable. I think for the 250 grams you can, or 150, you can pick them up for less than £3 in your local shop. I picked mine at Tesco's, and I mixed them with CMC, which is stylus powder. I've spoken about stylus powder over here quite a bit. The stylus powder helps to firm up the fondant. and helps to keep the form. Essentially, for a bar cake, what you're trying to do is replicate the effect of leather. Leather is flexible. It's something you can pull around. Sometimes there's a bit of texture in it. So we're not aiming for exact perfection, because the imperfections are to the character of the cake. We're not trying to make a highly polished looking cake, because that is essentially a perfectly newly purchased handbag. I can't talk. Anyway, I'll stop talking. So there we have it. And I am going to just move my fondant out of the way. And I'm going to bring my cake back. And then we are going to do this. So over here, if you are new to cake decorating and you're not sure what to do, the first task here is to measure, because the essence of the bar cake is also understanding the measurements and taking the exact accurate measurements and cutting your shapes. I would probably encourage, as a beginner, after you've carved your cake, maybe create some patterns. You can create patterns using paper or cardboard. So if you have a paper, use that to measure some patterns and cut that out, and then transfer that to cutting your fondant. I chose to do this freehand because I can, but that's a little tip for you. So the bottom of the cake here on this side is, I think, about 4 inches, right? But when you're cutting your fondant, you want to leave room for mistakes. So even if it measures exactly 4 inches, probably when you come to measuring the size or the length of that, you want to measure it for up to 5 inches, because you're going to be cutting some out, you see. So the 1 inch will leave room for flexibility over here. So on the bottom line, we have 4 inches total, and on the top, you can measure this standing, but of course you can't bend the ruler, which is where the tape measure comes in handy. Now I have the inches here. So the entire size of the cake is about 14 inches round from one side to the other, 14. So you estimate that it's about 7 inches one side to the top. Let's say 7 inches to the top somewhere, and then 7 inches to the next top somewhere. So for the length beneath here, you have 4 inches, and then height, you have 7 inches to start with, because we are paneling this cake, you see. We are not covering it all by one, because if we did that, there will be too much fondant and we might miss some of the shapes around the cake. For some of you who have just joined us, there is, I know Aisha who's just joined us. Hello, darling. How are you? I've used the same measurements to cut this out. There is, just so we are sure. I told you to measure it about 5 inches here, and then about 7 inches to the top over there. So there you go. The 5, because it's 5 inches, I am putting it in a way where you have room to cut some of the fondant out. With that said, remember when we carved the cake, we made a gap here, just in the middle here. So that's all I'm doing. The reason why I had to let the fondant also set is specifically for this reason, so the fondant can hold form. Because if I didn't do that, the fondant will be very flabby and it will not hold shape and will make it difficult to cover, because I really need this to hold its form, which is what you are seeing here. So I'm going to get myself a fondant smoother. I'm going to push this all the way right in here. Right, you could use a ruler to get those bits in and then push all of that in. Now you can see, because I had tylers and I've left the fondant to set dry, you can see there is break in the skin, but that's fine. It could replicate weathered leather, right? So that is completely fine. It's not the end of the world at all about the fondant. And now that it's taking form, what you can do is Just trying to get my hands clean. The thing with black fondant is a little bit tricky to work with, because if it is exposed to any other ingredients or material, it will end up creating patches and color around it. So I am using a little bit of black fondant here to shape and get this to get in. You want to be careful with this aspect when you're doing it though. Very, very careful, right? I think when I did this, I was doing this without, yeah. So now you can see it's all attached, and because the crease that is broken has already created a form for me. If you see me move out of screen, it's because I want to give you a look into what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the crease, and I'm going to cut right on the crease down and move that. Quick tip here is you need a sharp blade to do this. Anything less will drag the fondant down and will affect the shape of what you're doing. So you really do need a sharp blade. And I've taken that, and there you have it, right? So we've got that, but we haven't finished yet. Now, using the same principle that I used here, I did go ahead and I've cut myself some fondant which has texture pattern, using a texture mat. I'll be showing you what that looks like in a moment. But next, because I've cut this and there is a seam here, I am going to use a seam tool just to pass on it. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to give the impression that the bag is sewn in a way, yeah? So I am doing just that. I should confess, I have never been able to get a seam in a straight fashion. It is probably why I'm a cake maker and not a seamstress. Right. Now, if you're wondering what I've covered the cake with, that is butter, okay? Just so you know, that is butter. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cover. This is going to be the front of our cake, right? And you will see what I mean by the front of our cake. As you can see, we've gone ahead and I've created a texture using a pattern over there, right? But there's an error here to fix, which is that there is a gap between the seams. Okay, so I am sealing that together using my hand. You want to make sure that that is fixed right. Okay, there you go. Okay. Okay. All right, we've got that right, but it doesn't go all the way. I'm going to cut this out and I'll tell you why I doing that. But before I cut it out, as you can see that I have pushed that, you can see the color of the ganache showing through on the cake. So I'm going to polish that out so we don't have that on the cake. Yep, there you go. Okay. If you don't see me on screen, I'm not missing at all. I'm just giving you a chance to kind of have a close-up look at what exactly I am doing over here. And if you didn't know, I was here yesterday, but not for the bag cake. I hoped I would be here for the bag cake after making a live in the morning about our VE Day cake. But I ended up having a very, very tight schedule. My day overran and I couldn't come back. So if you're wondering if you missed yesterday, you didn't. There was a live. It just wasn't what you would have been expecting. And it was a VE Day cake. I'm actually just turning around looking for the blade I am using. That's the problem with decorating on a live. Some days you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? So what I'm doing here is I am just on the top here. you're going to find a middle, and then you're going to cut. You're going to cut the excess out, and I will explain to you why that is. Right. Right, there you go. So that's the front of our cake, but we are not done yet. The reason being, we will have the flap, as in the cover, come down over here at some point, and then we'll create some texture on the back. You'll see what that all looks like. We haven't gotten there yet. And what I was hoping to do with this cake was replicate, say, a bag with the skin or a print of some sort. Now, can you represent this to look like, say, your Chanel bag? I don't know anything about Chanel, but you know what I mean. If you Google Chanel bag cakes, you can see. The reason why I settled for this pattern, this looks like an animal skin pattern, is simply because you can use a texture mat. I'll be demonstrating that for you to see. And the lines you create on the Chanel bag cake takes a little bit of time to perfect. I can't do that, but if you're just joining me for the first time on a live, I am doing this hoping that the techniques that I employ to complete this cake are completely beginner friendly, making the task and what I am doing much achievable for you, especially if you're a beginner. So I kind of felt like having a texture mat. This is a very, very cheap, affordable texture mat you can pick up on Amazon. Okay, and I'll show you how I was able to use that to get this print here on the cake. But you can use the exact same processes I use here to make yourself a Chanel bag cake. That is if you fancy yourself one of those cakes. And I think I've seen those cakes made time and again online already, so I didn't want to try that anymore. I just wanted to bring something different here, if you know what I mean. But that is just by the way. So what I am doing is just flexing the when you see a bag, okay, what am I looking for? When you see a bag, you'll see, especially a leather bag, you'll see dents and bits in it, you know. So that is what I am trying to do. I'm just using this tool right here to push this right in here, just to enhance the seam detail. Right, there you go. And I'm pushing that all the way out. And I could do that just to level out the imperfection on the side here. Okay, and then I'm gonna using, yeah, so I think I have gotten this right over here. Now we're going to do the back of the cake, and it is going to follow the same principle here, so follow me on this one. Let's see. Yep, I'm going to move the cake away from here. I'm working from a very small workspace, so bear with me. And moving that. So we're going to take the black that we have. Linda, darling, how are you? I mean, I am hoping I can finish what we are doing, what we aim to do today, and then I will engage with you in the chat. But the, what do you call it? moderators, Tapeta and Lollipop will keep you engaged over there with Delaney. Delaney, how are you? Aisha, are you still there or you're gone? Right, so whilst you're at it, if you don't mind, you can like the video, okay? Keep us engaged and register your interest and your presence here by liking the video. All I'm doing is just trying to get the thing out. So what we're doing, I've got some more black fondant, right? And with fondant, how much fondant in total did I get here? Give or take, there is about 600 grams in total. But I will say, if you're coloring your own fondant, you are better coloring more. So say if you think you're going to need 600, probably go for a kilo. The extra 400 will never go to waste, and you will find yourself needing it for other projects. Because with fondant, if you color it and you need more, you may not be able to recolor your subsequent colors to match your initial one, because color develops and sets through the coloring process. So remember that. That's a tip. Now with the fondant, what I've just done is kind of knead it together just so that it's leveled out and it's plain. And I have myself a fondant rolling tool here. I'm going to roll these out slightly. Now, if you're lucky to have a fondant rolling machine, you're welcome, okay? But I don't have that, so I'm just rolling my fondant out. Now, with the fondant, especially for a bag, there is really no rhyme or reason to it. And sadly, I cannot tell you how thin you should roll your fondant. You know why? Because I can't even measure the width of the thickness here. So I can't tell you, but just as a guide, so thick enough that you can feel an imprint out of it like that without it breaking. Because if it's very thin, if you try to make an imprint, it will push through and it will break. So a guide is to make sure that you can make an imprint and you can hold the fondant. But then fondants differ from location to location, so it's a tricky one to give you all that detail here, okay? And I'm sorry for that. That said, right, there you go. Right, so also note that any fondant that has gum paste or CMC added to it is sometimes a little bit hard to roll because it's set, okay? So I've rolled that out and polished it with the fondant smoother. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the impression mat over here, and I need the impression to match the front of the back. You will see what I mean. Because this is so small, it doesn't cover the entire surface of the fondant. I'm going to do this in batches. So it's just lay it down. When you can, add some Trex or gums, a slight dust of corn flour, right? And all I'm doing is smoothing, using this to roll over the impression mat and then lifting it, and then you have the impression over there. You can use this for a pavement impression, for a cake. You can use it to cover your cake board, all sorts of things. But a tip here, because when you roll it, as you can see, there is a line across, and you don't want that line to show through. So what, and you can't always line the pattern to get a flush look. So what I do is I just allow the mat to overlap, and I make sure I don't roll or I don't move the roller close to the line anymore. So as you can see, I'm rolling, but because the mat is overlapping, when I lift it, you almost don't see the seam, okay? So we have a little portion here that this impression mat is going to overlap. So instead of overlapping it this way, I've placed it right in the middle, which means there is more of the mat overlapping to the pattern over here. and I'm going to start rolling away from the line, which means I end up getting a seamless look without the line. I hope that kind of makes sense. With that done, I'm going to move that to the side, and I'm going to take my measurement again. So, right, I'm going to move that onto I'm only moving it onto a drum here just for the demonstration. If I was doing this by myself, I wouldn't need that. I would just go ahead and cut things straight away. So I'm moving that out of the way, and there you go. I need some water. Right. With that said, there you go. Now, that's the front of our cake. That is the back. But the back is not going to take exactly the same pattern, because then it would just make it all boring. So the back is going to have, it's going to be non-patterned. So we don't have the pattern. It's just going to be flush like that. And we're going to have a pouch or a pocket, right? Is that complicated? I'm going to show you how to do that. If you think you can do that, let me know. And if you think that is am I missing something in the chat? Is it somebody's birthday in the chat? Right, okay, right. So I'm going to show you how we are going to tackle the back. But then again, we are going to do the measurement, right? Did I say the back? Look, I've been saying this wrong. We're trying to finish the front, but from the back. And because the back, it doesn't have a pattern, I'm going to show you how to do it, okay? Tabitha, it was your birthday yesterday. Oh my God. I wasn't here yesterday. Is that a good excuse? Darling, happy belated birthday. I am so happy I'm back today to celebrate with you. What were we supposed to do? Everybody in the chat, okay? There is 21 of you in the chat, minus Tabitha herself. Everybody in the chat, put what do you call it? A love emoji in the chat for us. Tabitha is the in-house moderator. If she wasn't here keeping us company, by the way, if she wasn't here keeping us company, I tell you, the chat will be boring, because can you see I am busy here ignoring you, okay? I'm so busy here, I can't even talk to you. If Tabitha and Lollipop wasn't keeping you guys engaged, we will have no engagement and community over here. So all of you, put a happy birthday message over there, whatever you want to say, but a minimum happy birthday with a heart attached to it. Tabitha lovely, my absolute pleasure to have you. Happy belated birthday. Yesterday, I showed up in the morning with hopes to come back at lunchtime, and it all fell to pieces, my darling. I had such a long day. I left a message in the community post that I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be back, and I wasn't, okay? I missed it. So happy birthday. I hope you did something fun though, but let's finish our task and then we can talk about your birthday and whatever you got up to there, honey. Okay? I want to know what you got up to. So I know, let's see, this is about 8. Okay, let's do. What am I going to do? Right, if you don't see me, I'm measuring stuff, okay? There you go, got it. Right. Okay. And okay. Right. Okay. Okay. And for the front, instead of having a straight line, I'm going to curve the front of the bag a little bit. Okay. Right, so we've curved that. Right. Try and cut this out a little bit. Okay. Okay, we're carving this out. Okay, right. Okay, we've done that. Now, did I tell you we were doing the front? It's not exactly the front, and you'll see. It's not. Did I tell you we were doing the back? It's not exactly the back. It's the front, but you'll see what I mean, right? So, right. We know from here to there is 14. I see. Oh, look at me. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Right. We know the entire length from here to there is 14 inches. Over here, we have from the middle here to down, it's about 7.2 inches, right? And we have the back. Now, when we're covering we're trying to get the flap, as in the opening of the bag, which is what we have created. We are not going to need all 7 inches here. We are going to mark this at, let's just say, somewhere. Can you see what I'm doing though? Yeah, we're going to need that about, let's say, this bit here, which is about, let's take some measurements. Which is about the 4 or 5 inch mark, leaving 2 inches down. That is where we are needing that, which means if we measure that for 5 inches, let's say the 5 inch mark here, right? If we take there you go. So we need about 10 inches. I'll tell you why. So let's see, how much have I got here? I've got 8 though. So what I'm going to do here is get the back of this to be a bit flat. Because what I also do not want to do is have too much fondant on the cake unnecessarily, right? So I've just rolled that back a little bit. And what we are going to do, I'm bringing the cake back. And because I already have an idea of where the flap is going to go, we have okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create, I'll tell you what I'm trying to do in a moment, but I've got to do it before I can show you. I'm taking, you could do this with anything, but I'm only using cling film here because it's a soft pattern. Because what I'm trying to do here is place this in between the cake, in between the flap, just to give the flap movement, right? Because if it falls flat, it looks very flat, nothing is happening, and the bag is just there. But if you use a pattern, say if I went and I put cling film or tissue and it imprints on the bag, it will leave dents, and I don't want that. So what I'm doing is trying to create some sort of movement on the opening of the bag. And I've done that by just putting the cling film underneath. And at the back here, there's a small gap. So all I'm doing is trying to push this into shape. That's all. Okay, yeah, there we are. Now what we are missing instrumentally is our detail, as in the detail. So I am going to our stitching tool, stitching this over. Okay, then you stitch down. I'm gonna try and do that over here. Right, I'll get out of the camera front just to give you an insight into what I'm doing. Okay, stitching, and then I'm stitching this down. Okay, right, we'll come back, and because I'm using I should have done the stitching probably before putting this over, but here we're here now. So I'm stitching tool, okay, at least we've stitched it. Can you see that the flap is a little flexible, other than if I had just left it? Now I'm gonna go and polish the parts of this that is showing. Okay, there you go. Now as you can see, the back looks like nothing has happened over there. That's intentional, because remember I told you the back is not going to have a pattern effect, but it needs to be covered nonetheless. And I'm trying to make sure we don't have too much fondant at the back. So right, so this part to maybe somewhere on the up here is where the pouch is going to be. So it's like a full-on bag with a pouch opening at the back. I hope that kind of makes sense. Right, so I'm gonna go back in and I'm going to tidy the seams. It's still important that you know that a bag like this requires you to be patient with yourself through the process, and to make sure your cutting is all done with a very sharp, fine tool, okay? Because if you don't do that, it will affect your final look. Okay, there you go. Okay, there you have. How do you feel about where we have gotten to so far? For those of you who have been here since we started. Right, so we're going to move that out of the way, and then we are going to finish the pouch. Okay. Well, the decorating process is never complete without a little sprinkle of chaos, is it? So whatever has fallen over there, stay there. Okay, no, we don't need hot water. I'm going to move the cake out of scene. We'll get the board out of place. And now we're going to roll our fondant again, just so that we are going to create the pouch. Thank you, Lollipop. Lollipop says she thinks the bag is great. But mind you, we'll be painting this bag so that we can get some sheen on it when it's all complete. So we are not done yet. Okay? Never mind. It looks so real. Thank you. You know what? I think a little part of me feels like if it looks too perfect, then it's almost non-achievable, is it? But I'm glad we are making progress on it. Okay? Right. So let's talk about VE Day. What did you guys do yesterday? I tell you what I did. I had a couple of very serious appointments and meetings to attend, which I did. And then my son's school had, like most schools, a VE Day celebration. So we went for that. But between the meetings and appointments, my day ended up being overwhelmed. I was here in the morning, just after the school run, to decorate our cake in the morning. It was so early. I was so tired. I hadn't slept well the night before. Oh Lord, but we are here now. Okay, I am grateful for you, those of you who caught up. So if you missed our VE Day activity for bake session, catch up on the live. The video is already up. So now that I've rolled my fondant, I'm going to go back and measure how much I need. I need about 7 inches here. Okay, 7 inches length, and it's about 8 inches wide. So let's get this. It's about 8 inches wide. Okay. And then we have, yeah. Right, so we have this with the curve, but we're going to cut the curve over. So there you have it. If you wonder what that roll of fondant is for, it's just for the pouch. Oh, and I haven't created the seam. I'm just going to do that now. Bear with me. Now with the stitching tool. Okay. Okay. And yep. Okay. Right. So I am going to, we're going to, where is, yeah, but I'm going to cut a straight line over here. Now I'm questioning whether I can cut something straight. Okay, let's see. I can't. Okay, I did, but it needs, okay. Right, so that's the pouch, but we are not done here because the pouch doesn't have to be flat. We need some movement in the pouch. So I have some shortening here. As you can see, I'm not using liquid because it's black. If I touch this with water, it will bleed. Okay, so you can either use edible glue. So what I'm doing is I am trying to keep the pouch open by moving the brush in there to push it out a little bit, just to keep the pouch effect out. You can use piping gel here, and if you don't have piping gel, you can opt for edible glue. If you can use water, but if you choose water, you have to be extra cautious because water tends to bleed and may affect. Okay, so what I'm doing is I've attached the pouch and I am trying to move it so there is an opening over there. I did say don't use water, but I'm using a bit of water here because the shortening butter isn't helping me here too much. Right, so I have a pouch. Now, how open you want the pouch, how you want it to stick out is all up to you. I just want to create the impression of a pouch instead of just leaving it to be flat over here. Right, there you go. Right, now we can see some bits and bobs over there. So I'm going to get my brush. Where is the brush? I'm losing my head over where the brush is. Okay, I'm using there. That's the big-headed brush. So I'm going to go in and with the brush, brush the dents off. And also take time to clean the crevices of the stitching, as in the parts where the stitching is a little bit off. I'm gonna stitch. Yeah. Okay. But we will be painting this bag essentially to give it a sheen. So whatever marks we have on it are not like the worst. Right. And there we have it. So our bag has a flap. It has a pouch. How do we think our bag is coming along so far? What do you think? Let's leave our comments in the comment section. Let's see. Okay, I'm getting some more. You can use tissue paper for this part. I don't have tissue paper, which is why you need something soft, something you can bend, something flexible, soft touching. Yeah. And I'm using that to keep the flap open. Okay, there you go. Right, so that is open. So when the bag sets and dries, I can go back and leave and take out the cling film out. It won't leave any dents, but it will also help support the pouch shape over there. Yeah. Okay, so that's our bag. If you see the front that has flaps and bits in there, it is to create movement and flex. When it's all done, we'll take it out and then the shape would remain. So that is the essence of that, if you like. There you go. Right, have we got somewhere with our bag cake? I tell you, the cake didn't look anything like this at all when we started. If you've been here, you would have seen that this looked nothing like what we have. And some days, can I be honest? Some days, even when I start a project, right, I don't think through I don't overthink it, because in my mind, if I overthink it, I won't do it. So some days I pick the project mentally and I have a shabby idea of it. I'm like, whatever happens, we're going to do this thing. But some days, even at the start of it, I'm like, how am I even going to pull this off? Honestly. So if you're sitting there doubting yourself, believe me, we all do it sometimes. And so, yeah, it's thank you for your support here. And if you already like what you're seeing, do like the video, okay? Join us here in our community. We are a supportive bunch. And whilst we're at it, there is 23 of you, but there's just 10 likes over there. Look, that's the only thing I'll ever ask you, to like the video and engage with us, okay? Join the community, subscribe, okay? You're welcome. When you finish having your fun, you can come back and tell us all about the fun and value we provide for you. But our bag is still not done, okay? Our bag is not done at all. We've done the bag, but there are important aspects of a bag, which is the hardware and other elements on the bag. Now, let's vote. I'm thinking, because it's a beginner-friendly bag, okay? We're gonna, a beginner-friendly bag, purse, whatever you call it. I want to keep it super simplistic with just a handle here without the strap, the long the long strap. I just want a small handle here with some highlighted hardware gold detail, and that's it. Or do you want to go all the way out and go for the long strap? What would you like, strap or no strap? Classic simplistic handle, or handle with strap, gold strap? What do you want? Like, as in the chain, okay? The chain, the long chain thing. The long chain thing, I don't have a mold for that, okay? But here, Linda, see you later, darling. See you later. Okay, so there we are. Okay, handle with simplistic. You are my people. Okay, so a classic handle with simple hardware. Thank you. You are my kind of people. No strap. So there's a vote for no strap. Let's see. A classic handle at the top. Okay. Whilst we're at it, we're going to create the spot for the handle to go. I need my ball tool. That's a ball tool. And I am going to create just the spot where the handle is supposed to go. Okay, let's see. Okay. So we'll see. So let's see, what am I missing? Handle with hardware, no long strap, right? Designed. You know what? The only reason I don't want to do the long strap is because I don't have the mold for it. And when I started the tutorial, remember, I said I wanted it to be accessible and beginner friendly, in that I didn't want to employ extra tools that I have to buy, because by doing that, even though I can afford to, by doing that, you then have to go and invest in that element for the cake for yourself. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that part, only because I don't have it. If I did have it, but then again, it's only £6, I think, and it's something about less than 10 quid on Amazon. But then I have to go and order it and wait for it to come before we continue the tutorial. I don't know. It's neither here nor there. Okay, let's see. Okay, right. Anyway, I have created a dent on top of the cake here, just so that it can leave room for the handle. Okay, so that's where we are at. Okay, there you go. Our bag, our bag, our bag, our bag. Yes, I have got Prime next day delivery, but then I don't know if this particular item can be sourced on. So I'm gonna go check, and then I will keep you guys posted on the community post about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go check if I can get the item on Prime and it's delivered. What I don't know is whether it can be delivered before 1 p.m. tomorrow, or I would just have to wait till Tuesday to come back and finish the details. I don't know. I'm just like, this is me just thinking out loud. Okay? But either way, we can finish the cake, and then the strap will be an added detail. Is it important for the cake? No. You see what I mean? We can have a handle, a gold handle over here, and a little button over there, and small details, and then yeah, and then the option of the strap is additional, like as in something optional. So it's neither here nor there. Stop it. I mean, you live in Oregon, not on Mars. Even last time people went out of space, they came back 11 minutes later. Okay? So, why is your Amazon snow mail? Okay, people, our bag is, we've achieved some results with our bag here. And I need to move it out of sight. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Now I have more black fondant here. Look at the rest of the fondant I've got. Well, we can use this for the handle. Okay, let's see. For our handle, at the top, you want to get yourself some fondant, and all I'm doing is rolling it to a round shape. the size of the handle, it's all dependent, okay? You can go for a chunky, big handle, or you can go for a smaller handle. It all depends. I have just gone for a sizable chunky handle here, and for that I've just rolled it out, and I'm cutting this out here, right? So you want to make sure that whatever the size of the handle you have chosen, it is sturdy and it is firm. So this you are going to have to leave to set and harden even before you try, because if otherwise it will fall, it won't hold. Sometimes you can put what do you call it, a metal wire, as in a florist wire, the sturdy one over there, but I'm trying to make this as beginner friendly as possible. So for instance, here's the bag. You have the handle. If you put it over it right now, it will flap and fall, but I am using this to gauge the measurement. As you can see, it seems to have fairly settled in. Would I like a bag with a handle like this? Of course, right? So this looks fair to me. So I'm going to leave this. You want to check where the front is, because if you leave it to set dry by itself, you're going to have a dent like where it sits. So you want to check where the front is and the back. And over here, I think the not flat side is the front. So it's going to look like something like this, right? So the part that is lying down is the back, and the front is here. And what I'm going to do is just mark it here and then leave it now. Now I know the front and my back, and I'll leave it as that. I'm going to put a skewer in it. I'm going to put a skewer in. You can put essentially, when you come back to putting this in the cake, you can put a skewer in it to serve as your hook. As my words are gone, I'll tell you in a moment what the skewer does. But yeah, but so I'm just sharpening my skewer a little bit, and same one. Okay. I've just put some water in front of it, and I've just added a bit of Tylose so that it can secure, and then I'm gonna stick it in there a little bit and leave it to dry, because essentially when it dries, it will help hold the handle for me on the cake. So at least we've made the handle. Now, where is my board? There you have it. So we have the handle, but we won't be using it just yet. Like most things that are not perfect over here, look, our pouch is giving away, but anyway, we've managed to fix it. Okay. Right. If you've not been here since the start of our cake, as in the handbag cake, we have the previous tutorials all up for you to watch. It's a step-by-step tutorial which gives you everything you need to know and how to get make a handbag cake. And so far we are getting somewhere with this. Okay, so let's put this away, clear our work table, shall we, or shall we leave it as that? I don't think my work table is as bad. I'll just have the handle of the bag, which is done. I'm going to put that here. And I can clear half of the items on here, and then we can catch up. So it was Tabitha's birthday yesterday. Tabitha, darling, look at me. I don't want water to get on my hands, but a final look at our cake before we move it out of sight. What do we think? So far from start till now. Right, that is our cake. Now, good people, Tabitha, let's move our cake out of sight for a minute whilst we catch up. So it was Tabitha's birthday yesterday. Tabitha, what did you say you did for your birthday? I'm asking. I know you guys are having your own conversation over there, but I'm not missing out, am I? I'm trying to impose myself so that I don't miss out. Okay? So you guys come tell me what good stuff. A little part of me is thinking, am I overthinking this? When you see a bag, there is always a seam, isn't it, where the bag is sewn. And some bags end up having a round look to them, the handles, but I kind of feel like it's not perfectly round all the time. Is that me? So I am trying to create the seam. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? I'm trying to create the seam. You know, sometimes when... Okay, I've done it. Because I was like, no, I'm missing something. Can you see what I mean? So at least we have a seam. Okay, got it. The small things that a cake maker worries about. Take no notice of me, yeah? All right. Oh my God. You went and got some more cake decorating supplies. Not that you don't have enough already, Tabitha. Not that you don't. Hello. Did you have a great time though? Did you pick up things that you thought you wanted? Okay. Tabitha now has a leveling tool, some flat knife spatula. Yep. Okay. Wilton is gel colors. Okay. Mandolin cookie making pans, Russian popping tips that scare you. A flower nail. Oh, okay. So you'll be making your own buttercream flowers. Good for you, darling. Well done. Well, happy birthday. Did you make a cake for yourself, Tabitha? I thought you would have made a cake for yourself to celebrate. You got all the things you didn't have. Lovely. We are so happy for you, Tabitha. Okay? Happy belated birthday. You should have said, I'm sure you have spoken about your birthday before, though. That's all on me. Okay? If only I paid attention a bit more. And don't get obsessed about cakes alone over here, right? Because I was just going to say, you should have told us. You ordered a cake from your local store. You're like me. For my birthday, I have a simple birthday tradition. It was unintended though. My sister actually orders me birthday cakes for my birthday. Yeah. We get it from a bakery and it gets delivered. And yeah. Good for you. Tabitha now has all the tools to make her, to help her make a wild looking cake. And who doesn't want a wild looking cake? I certainly do want a wild looking cake. Okay? I am so happy to have you here. Thank you for all the love and support. Thank you for all the fun you bring to our lives over here. And I wish you all the best and all the great things you wish for yourself and more, Tabitha. Okay? Happy birthday, lovely. It's a pleasure being here with you always. Okay? I'm sure Mom was excited to go spend some money on you, was she? Okay, people. It's the one day in a year where I get to feel like a princess, where I get looked after. She cooks. Like this year, the entire family came together. Oh, it's a bunch of family and friends like came together, and there was food. Oh God, it's not my birthday. My birthday passed. Okay, it's your birthday. You know what? You can send me all the email you want. Okay. Don't worry, I'm not mad. Okay, send me all the email you want after that. Okay, right. Good people. This kid here gotta go. Okay, love you to the moon and back. I am still contemplating on what I want to do, whether we want a strap, we don't want a strap, the hardware details and all like that. So we'll come back in our next live to finish our cake off, right? And then we can paint our cake and get it all done, okay? So that is it for our live today. Tabitha, Lollipop, all of you, have a good one. Enjoy your Friday and the rest of your weekend. And we'll be back on our next live. Take care. Bye. Happy birthday again, Tabitha. Have a good one.